We're excited to announce our partnership with Vaughn Custom Sports, a goalie gear company based right here in Michigan. Vaughn was a part of our journey long before this partnership, with both Natalie and myself wearing the gear in our playing days. We stand behind their craftsmanship and their innovation that they brought to the game for many years.
Welcome again to another episode of the Dialed and Driven Hockey Mentality Podcast. I'm Chris Palmer, mental performance coach for hockey players throughout North America and Europe. Sitting across from Jeff Lerg, former professional hockey player. And if you're watching on YouTube, I have to tell you that he has an unusual thing added to his look today. He got his face bashed in with a super fast puck, and amazingly, he's still here. He's got some stuff going on, but it's kind of a cool look if you see it on YouTube.
Well, it's not that cool. I've been going out to team practices for over 20 years as a goalie coach, and I've been clipped a couple times, but this one was like just an absolute laser beam right to my orbital bone. So I'm super lucky that I didn't fracture anything, didn't lose my eye, didn't mess my teeth up. So this is a lucky outcome. Just happened to be an errant puck went flying off a stick, and I was coaching someone else and just smoked me in the head. So anyways, yeah, we're battling this week, but that's the way it goes.
Any other person, I would have said it's a bar fight, but I believe the story. It's good. I'm also sitting here with Natalie Ferenc, who's always doing our production, but she's also a star D1 player. That's what she's done in the past, and she comes and brings all her energy to this too. So we're going to be going into questions, but today's theme is going to be talking about the Olympics. I'm going to be talking about all the great stories that, believe it or not, relate to your lives. We're doing this for you. We're doing this thing so you have things for you. And in this, nothing sometimes is better than actually showing you examples in real life of people who've gone through the same things you have in different sports. But Natalie, let's go to you with our questions.
Yeah, I'm Natalie Ferenc, and we're going to start with our question and answers that you guys give us. You can submit all of your questions on our website that is in the show notes. So first, we'll start off with this question. If you had to rebuild your career from scratch, what would you focus on first?
Hockey-wise, correct? Athletics? Yes. So rebuilding the career, honestly, I think I was fortunate when we grew up that hockey wasn't 365 all year round. There was more of a common mindset to take a break. And so that part would be something I would just continue to reiterate. I'd make sure that was part of my rebuilding. But really the athletic development and the overall ability to just play, just learn how to play and have fun while you deal with all the, quote unquote stress and anxiety of sports. Because as you get to the older levels, that starts to ramp up more and it becomes more difficult to focus on just executing the task at hand. But I would really have that as a key focus. Like just go out, play other sports, learn how to play fun while you're playing not only your sport you're passionate about, hockey or other sports, because I can see how big of a benefit that is for athletes nowadays.
I wish I was more dialed. I mean, honestly, I really kind of just had one thing. Initially, running was about self-esteem for me. I remember we told the story, my coach kind of saved my life. But after that, it became about getting a scholarship as a poor kid. But I never really went bigger picture than that. And there's so many other things in the bigger picture. And if I took a second to step back out of the practicality of just trying to pay for college, there's a whole other world of things that could have happened. I would have loved to think big picture more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I would have really focused on the education of just the all-around sport and possibilities that I could go to, even if college was an option, or Division I, Division III club, just kind of that route and see how far I could take it.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So now we're going to talk about the Olympics, and we're going to talk about these cool lessons and stories and things that we saw. It seems like everything's a surprise. Who wants to go first?
Well, with this dialed in athlete portion that we like to bring up common modern athletes to learn from them. Well, now we just have every elite athlete in the world playing in a winter sport. So that's why it's an awesome time to just really look at the under the surface level of how these athletes, the storylines they've had before their success, or even those who didn't quite win a medal, like how they've really shown up and performed their best. So one sport that I have never tried, but I think would be super hard is cross country and the shooting. So the biathlon, like it's two completely separate skill sets. Like you just look at those athletes and like they have to be so dialed in on max exertion on the cross country uphill. It's just nonsense. So they have to do that. And then they have to go and calm their heart rate down. So this woman from Bulgaria, she won the bronze medal. Her name's like Laura Herstova. Obviously, she's not a fan, so she won't mind if I butcher her name. But so there's Laura Herstova from Bulgaria. She won the bronze, and she knew that she wasn't able to be physically kind of keep up the speed with the rest of the racers. Like she knew skiing wasn't going to be her strength, so she really focused all of her training to make sure she was just 100% dialed in on the shooting portion, and she did. She nailed it, and then that's how she kind of caught up point wise. Into the race is to really just execute her best strength.
You know, these shooting guys, the guys who just do shooting, right? Like the military style sniper guys, any competitions, it's all about trying to find a way to be completely almost motionless. And there's a thing that you'll see over and over again to try to squeeze the trigger between heartbeats if you can. Like, how could that even happen when you're busting your butt? It doesn't seem possible. It's amazing.
It's a crazy sport. I didn't watch it, and I honestly haven't heard of it until you just spoke of it. But I did see the uphill cross country people, and they are nuts. I actually watched some TikToks. There's like some trend going on where people are trying it on their own just to try and cross country ski uphill, and it is hilarious. These just average people attempting it. So these people competing in the
I know that they do it just for they're sprinting full speed and
nuts.
It's unbelievable. So the biathlon is a unique sport. Obviously, every 4 years, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Natalie, what's your story?
Well, next, I have really been on the speed skating for some reason. My Dialed In athlete weeks ago was, I think his name was Dan Carney. He was the oldest person to compete in an Olympic qualifier.
Like 40 or something?
He was 60.
60?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
And so ever since then, I've kind of paid attention to the speed skating. There was a U.S. speed skater. I can't remember her name, but I don't know if she was in this Olympics, but in 2022, she competed. But again, she learned to skate at 24 years old. And then I think she's not too much older, but she took speed skating by storm because she became an Olympian. But Jutta Leedman,
she's Dutch. Good job in the pronunciation.
Speed skater, and she just won gold and also broke a world record in the women's 1,000 meter speed skate just recently. I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago. And what's so interesting is that she fell in the qualifiers, and I believe she didn't know if she was going to qualify for these Olympics. And if that isn't resiliency, I don't know what is. It's just amazing how she was able to bounce back like that.
And she set an Olympic record too. Like I watched that race too, and she just looks like a beast.
She completely stormed past her competitor, who I think was the reigning gold medal champion.
Yeah, they put like the top pairing against each other, and then she just blew her out of the water. But her quote after, I loved her quote. It was more or less like she wanted to live with no regrets, because you know how like exhausting that sport is. Like you're just buzzing,
and you don't even look like you're trying.
No, that's why it's amazing. Like every stride they have is so powerful, and to like any normal person, you would just be exhausted, halfway around. But her quote after winning was, "You have 80 years to recover from this. You can feel tired after. You don't want to live with that regret of quitting."
I love
more or less.
that.
Yeah. So it was like she's intense. She looks intense. She looks like she trains intense.
Yeah. And
deservedly won gold, set an Olympic record.
I'd love to talk about two ice dance couples. They're amazing. Chalk and Bates has been dominating for years. They've been skating together 15 years. Amazing, showing up to the Olympics. They've had joys. They've had unbelievable suffering. They're incredible. Everybody sees them as the top of the mountain. And they were doing great. But they got knocked off the mountain yesterday, and they were second. And it was incredibly hard because they are incredible. They really are incredible athletes. And you could see the moment that they saw they were taking over, they have the cameras going in, you could see this feeling of just, gosh, like, and I don't have the words and I don't work with them, but you could just see in their face this drop in their stomach, because in that moment, they've done everything. I mean, 15 years, a decade and a half of giving everything you have to the sport. You can only imagine the tens of thousands of reps doing these things because they have two different things that they do, a 3-minute program, 4-minute program. Can you imagine just doing thousands of times over a decade, and you finally think it's going to work out, and it doesn't? And they're really classy. It was great. They went over and they hugged the guys who won. But you could just see that feeling. And I hope eventually it turns around. They look at their career. It's a brilliant career. On the other side, there's Emmy and Vadim, Emily Azingas and Vadim Kolesnik, and they came in here never being at the Olympics before, not doing this for 15 years at the Olympics. So 2 different types of worlds, right? You've got Chalk and Bates coming in here, really the world expecting them to win, carrying that monster on your shoulder. Let's try not to be distracted during that. And then you've got these guys coming in for their first time. And what's so interesting, when Emmy and Vadim came in, they were inundated with interviews, podcasts, people on them, sponsorships, people wanting a piece of them. And then these layers and layers and layers of people that come out of the woodwork that are so interested. You can watch some of the media stuff there. They're just here. How do you do that? And I was talking with you, Jeff, before about in basketball, if there's a technical foul, you actually get to shoot your shot by yourself with no players on the sides. You actually get to do it by yourself. And it's so nice. That's like the ultimate, right? If you just take your shot without any other things, that'd be great. And in the world, there's all kinds of other things. There's doubt, fear, worry, all these things. But these guys have not only all of that, not only, hey, it's your first Olympics, and then they've got this thing that everybody has in the Olympics. And that's it. Everybody wants a piece of them. And I'm amazed they managed it. I'm amazed anybody manages it. I just think it's a great example of how you've got this mission that you're on and these things you're trying to accomplish, but there's always going to be something in the way. There's always going to be something that feels like it's going to distract you, and keeping yourself focused or dialed and driven is absolutely the answer every time.
Yeah, they really, they're so likable. You know, they're in our area where we're from, Metro Detroit. Like, they're skating at a rink right down the road from us. They're training right where we are every day at the Athlete Lab in Farmington Hills. Like, we see them all the time. They work with you. Like, they're so close to us daily. Like, we see them walk into the facility every day, yet Natalie and I don't know them personally, but they seem super likable. They've kind of taken, I think the rest of America sees that too, how likable they are. And you're right. Not many, normal ice dancing fans have heard of them before to this Olympics, but now everyone knows of them. Like, they were on every media channel you could have. Snoop Dogg took over their phone and was doing some stuff. Like, they were like, that's just, they managed it extremely well. Like, they performed, it seemed like, better than they ever had, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because there's such a weird dynamic too, because Vadim had his family in from Ukraine, and there's so much going on in Ukraine, like how they even got here and flights and all the infrastructure's messed up there. Have them there, and she's got her whole family there, and all these other little pieces. But there's this beautiful thing. It has to do with team. And if you guys listening, I'm talking into the camera right now. The guys watching on YouTube, talking to the camera, because there are times when you're going to be playing out there and you're going to feel like it's just you. And it's tempting just to focus on you, what's not working, what you're getting, what you're not getting. But what's really cool is that everybody's got a best friend. Everybody got somebody they love and care about. And when you're on a team and you look out for each other and you lean into each other, everything changes. And with Chalk and Bates, they're a couple. And with Vadim and Emmy, they're a couple. And not everybody's a couple. Sometimes they're just business partners. But there is something magically special about when people lean into each other. And they had all these cutaways, beautiful cutaways. You can see Emmy and Vadim actually leaning forehead to forehead in the backstage, just being in that moment together. Like, I got your back, I got your back. And Vadim does this really cool thing where he'll actually put his hand up on Emmy's head, and it's their high five. It's their pat on the back. It's their thing when you're on the bench and you're losing your mind. You can find some way to get better when your buddy says, it's going to be all right, man. Next shift will be fine. It's amazing how the encouragement of the people you care about makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen a lot of the media attention that they're getting too, like some Instagram influencers that I follow personally, like, they're posting their names and tagging them, watching them at their performances. So I think it's amazing just what they've been able to do, and especially with pressure that they're getting from the media and just so much attention. I feel like it really separates from an average person to these insane athletes that are able to handle performance and then all the noise on the outside. But I also really wanted to bring up a figure skater. His name is Ilya Malinin.
Yes.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He's insane.
Yeah, he's nicknamed the Quad God because he essentially effortlessly lands, what is it, a triple or a quadruple axel.
Effortlessly.
What did I say?
Effortlessly.
That's right.
But effortlessly, thank you, Jeff, lands the quadruple axel, which is considered the hardest jump in figure skating. I watched snippets of him, and you can just tell that he completely loves his routine, and every move and jump and style that he does at figure skating is just so him, and he loves it. So I think that's a really good way to just show if you love something, how far you can take it, because he's, I guess, considered the best in the world and very favored to win gold.
Yeah, doesn't he do that? He like that jump happens not at the end of his routine, right? So he has to like ramp up for that, and then it's kind of like a little bit of a risk. If it doesn't go well, he's got to kind of do the rest of the performance and knowing he kind of lost points, right?
Well, he also did, I think, 2 backflips.
Yeah, this guy's wild.
Was an illegal move until I think this Olympics, right? So yeah, the dude's nuts.
Like, yeah,
Good way.
ice dancing, and then the figure skating. Like every 4 years, I'm a big fan. I mean, like many people, you really do appreciate like how good of athletes they are. You know, like we're in a hockey and skating hotbed of the country. Some of those Olympians train in our area frequently, and we probably take it for granted. Like we walk by them all the time, and you know, we're in the same rink as those type of pairings all the time, and we never take a moment to watch them. Yet we see them on this big stage, and we're all glued to it. So I think we should probably just experience them where they're awesome. You know,
have you ever tried to do a backflip ever? Did you ever interested in that?
I can do a front flip on a trampoline, but I was too scared to try a backflip, so I
grew up in Florida, so I could backflip into a pool. And every single time, I'd be so close to landing on my feet doing it backwards, but it's just not quite. And it just takes something special. I mean, back when I was in shape as a 20-year-old, but it's so hard to do a backflip.
Yeah.
Like this small percentage of the population, usually very young, can do it. And everybody's lost an edge. I mean, seriously, you guys play hockey, or your girls that play hockey, you've lost an edge. You get blades under your feet. And at least if you had sneakers, you've got something to grip. But you're on this slippery ice doing this thing. It is full of, it's about to go down bad. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why it was illegal. It's a dangerous thing. Kim Muir did.
Yeah, Kim Muir was the first female to do it. But yeah, it's insane. Like you just said it. You do it as a kid when you're fearless, and then at some point you're like, "What am I doing? Like, this is dangerous."
You're here in this Olympic dream, and you're willing to risk the Olympic dream on the structural integrity of the ice, which changes all the time. Right. In a place you've never been at before.
Yeah, I know.
It's insane.
In the backflip, he's one of, I think, many men that have tried it in a world stage. Kim Muir's one that did it, and then the first woman to ever do it, I think, was in the 70s, or 90s, not too sure. But yeah, it's a crazy, crazy move. All the spins, jumps that they do is just so complicated and hard, and I can't even imagine.
I know.
No gear, by the way. No protective gear.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Zero protective gear. Let's just go play hockey and have gear on.
The ice is hard. Trust me, it is hard. It does not move. So yeah, and speaking of ice, the team events are just starting hockey wise. Like we're at the point now, it's just starting, but like right off the bat, the underdog took out the defending Olympic champs. So Slovakia beat Team Finland in the first game. It was only round robin.
In the men's.
But goaltending wise, you have UC Saros, who's my favorite. He's the goalie of Finland. He's a legit NHL starter, smallest goalie in NHL, but I'm a big fan. He's amazing. And then you have an AHL caliber goalie playing for Slovakia. I can't even say his name. Like no one's ever heard of him. He's just starting his North American pro career, and he outplayed and upset UC Saros in Finland. So it's only game one, but it really is just that's what these games are about. Anything can happen, and you got to show up and bring your best each and every game because upsets can happen. So we're at the point now those games are just starting, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I don't like bringing up how my favorite NHLer got upset, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. He's pretty dialed.
Well, we'll see. But, I mean, speaking about the women's, the U.S. team has just completely dominated the whole prelims. And I think they played Czech, Finland, and now Canada, and they've scored 5 goals every single game. So they're absolutely dominating the women's side of it.
And Kirsten Sims, who was with us previously, I know she'll do well. It's her first Olympics. To date, she's at least has 1 goal, I know.
Yep,
and she has scored so much in her career. Right? We can't keep track. But
she's a machine, man. She is such a machine.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. So obviously, hockey-wise, we're fired up to see where those storylines go. Hopefully, U.S. is the favorite, can stay on it and finish the job. And men's U.S., they haven't won a gold medal since 1980. So see if a miracle can happen for them. Like,
pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see like the team sports bring a whole nother dynamic too, especially hockey wise. Like those players aren't teammates all year. So they have this separate team building, events and shortened time period to rise up. So you just never know. Like that's what makes it exciting.
Mm-hmm. It's such a great ending. You never know. And I think just as a summary for you guys, remember last week we talked about this chaos thing and how chaos it's almost like the core principle of existence. And if you think of that, everything you see has that. Torn
with Lindsey Vaughn, she tore her ACL, and then she was my dialed-in athlete. Last week's podcast, and unfortunately, she ended up fracturing her leg in her downhill race. And yeah, chaos. You just clipped a flag and went down, and unfortunately, she retired. She's retired now.
But yeah, when you're looking at this, look at your lives. Look at what's going on. Moms, dads, you're trying to help your kids get this thing. Guys, girls on the ice, coaches. All of this is directly relevant to you because these are people trying to go for things they want, just like you trying to go for these great things. And things are going to happen. And whether it's something tears, something breaks, something you wished for and worked for forever didn't work out, something is totally different than how it feels and the world wants a piece of you and distracts you. Whatever those things are, over and over and over again, there's going to be things you want and things in the way. And if you can just accept the fact that anything can happen anytime, and be used to that, really just get the taste for that, then it opens up the world for you to go do the things you want and go become what you want to be. That's why we're here, and I hope you got that out of today's episode. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, whether you were the underdog, the favored athlete, the injured athlete battling through, like the consistent message is live with no regrets. Like give it your all, be 100% dialed in on what you're going to execute, and you put all that doubt, fear, worry in the back of your mind, and you just go and execute to the absolute best that you can possibly be. So there's so many amazing athletes now, like being that we're a mentality building and training company and podcast, like it's just so relevant for us to see how this is such an important part of all these athletes' success. Of course, there's a physical element, but the mentality really brings it. So to all of our youth athletes, make sure you tune in as much as you can to the rest of the Olympics and beyond. Just watch these athletes, watch these sports. Like they're truly amazing to be up on this world stage. And if you haven't yet checked out our website, make sure to go take a peek. It's at dialedindrivenmentality.com. We have all of our past episodes. We have a space to insert your questions, and then that's where you'll find our Dialed and Driven success formula as well. So we're super proud to continue to be here offering our podcast weekly. Love having all the content from Chris and Natalie and myself. We look forward to chatting again next week. And remember to stay dialed and driven on your goals, as that's the only way to accomplish success.
And that concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a like, leave us a review, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But most importantly, we would love for you to sign up to our free newsletter. Visit our website, Dialed and Driven Mentality. See you next week.
Jeff Lerg! One of the best saves you will ever see, keeps this game alive.
Chris Palmer again, the Hockey Mentality Podcast, Dialed and Driven.